Like father, like son? Not always in Hollywood. Does a son always follow in his father's legendary footsteps? Some of these iconic men built empires, redefined black cinema, and became industry giants. But what about their sons? Did they honor the family name, or did they throw it all away in controversy and disgrace? Some of these sons carved their own legacies, stepping out from the shadows of greatness. Others, they became Hollywood's biggest embarrassments. Let's jump right in. Jaden Smith, Hollywood's golden heir. Born into one of Hollywood's most influential dynasties, Jaden Smith, the son of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, has never known a life away from the public eye. Born on July 8, 1998 in Malibu, California, he grew up under the immense pressure of being a celebrity child. But behind the glamorous facade lies a story riddled with personal struggles, explosive controversies, and an unbreakable determination to defy expectations. Jaden isn't just an actor, recognized for his standout performances in The Pursuit of Happiness and The Karate Kid. He's also a musician, entrepreneur, and the visionary behind the sustainable water brand Just Water. However, it wasn't his career that made him one of Hollywood's most polarizing figures. It was his gender-fluid fashion choices and fearless public statements that set the world on fire. In 2018, Jaden sent shockwaves through the industry when he declared on stage that Tyler, the Creator, was his boyfriend. That single moment ignited a media firestorm, with fans and critics alike scrambling to decipher whether it was a joke or a heartfelt confession. Tyler's response, a cryptic smirk, only fueled the speculation, keeping the internet in a frenzy. But Jaden has never been one to conform. Instead, he embraced his role as a symbol of gender expression and individuality, using his platform to challenge societal expectations. However, pushing boundaries often comes at a price. While some praised him for his courage, he also faced intense backlash, particularly from conservative circles that saw his actions as nothing more than attention-seeking rebellion. And then came the most shocking revelation yet. Jaden, in a raw and unfiltered interview, hinted at deep emotional scars, cryptically stating that his own father, Will Smith, allowed Diddy to hurt him. Though no concrete details ever emerged, the implications sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Was this a misunderstanding, a misinterpreted metaphor, or something far more sinister? No one could say for sure, but one thing was undeniable. The Smith family image was permanently shaken. Jaden's controversies didn't stop there. His philosophical rants on quantum physics, reality, and the meaning of life have left people either fascinated or bewildered. Some view him as a visionary ahead of his time, while others dismiss his musings as deliberate eccentricity meant to set him apart from Hollywood's typical young stars. But beyond the scandals and media storms, Jaden has a heart for change. He has dedicated himself to philanthropy, launching initiatives to combat environmental issues and supporting children in need in Zambia. Just Water isn't just a business. It's his statement of social responsibility, proving that he wants his influence to go beyond mere celebrity status. 2. John David Washington. John David Washington, born on July 28, 1984, carries a last name that echoes through Hollywood history. As the son of the legendary Denzel Washington, the weight of expectation was immense, but John was determined to carve out his own destiny. From the football field to leading roles in major blockbusters like BlacKkKlansman and Tenet, he didn't just inherit fame, he earned it. But the road to success was anything but smooth. Growing up under the shadow of a Hollywood icon, John faced relentless scrutiny. Rather than riding on his father's reputation, he chose to keep his lineage under wraps when first stepping into the industry. He took on minor acting roles, avoided the spotlight, and even pursued a professional football career in the NFL, an escape from constant comparisons. But when his breakthrough moment arrived with BlacKkKlansman, 2018, John shattered every doubt. His gripping performance earned him a Golden Globe nomination, proving he was far more than just Denzel's son. Yet with fame came controversy. Online forums exploded with debates. Was John's rise truly due to his talent, or was he simply benefiting from his father's legacy? Critics questioned whether his career was built on nepotism, sparking heated discussions about privilege in Hollywood. But instead of feeding into the noise, John let his work speak for itself. He followed up his success with Tenet, 2020, a high-stakes, mind-bending thriller directed by Christopher Nolan, one of the most demanding roles of his career. Beyond the screen, John didn't shy away from tough conversations. He became a vocal critic of the racial disparities in the entertainment industry, calling out Hollywood's treatment of black actors. His fearless stance earned both admiration and backlash. Some saw him as a trailblazer demanding long-overdue change, while others dismissed him as a political agitator. But one thing was certain: John David Washington wasn't here to play by the rules. Today he stands as a force of his own, no longer just Denzel's son, but a powerhouse in his own right, with unwavering determination and undeniable talent. 3. Bronny James. Born on October 6, 2004, Bronny James was never just any basketball hopeful. He was the son of a living legend, LeBron James. From the moment he could dribble a ball, the world watched his every move, expecting him to carry the weight of his father's legacy. But Bronny wasn't looking for handouts. His skill, hard work, and relentless ambition carved his own path, making him one of the most promising young athletes in American sports. Then, in 2023, everything changed. During an intense training session at the University of Southern California, Bronny suffered a sudden and terrifying cardiac arrest. The news sent shockwaves through the sports world. How could an 18-year-old known for his peak physical condition suddenly collapse? The internet erupted with theories. Was it a hidden genetic condition? Overtraining? Something even more sinister? Doctors later diagnosed a rare heart issue, though the specifics were kept under wraps, only fueling further speculation. Bronny was forced to step away from the court to focus on his health, but that didn't mean the media gave him any breathing room. With a last name like James, privacy was never an option. Photos of his lavish lifestyle, sports cars, luxury vacations, courtside seats, were plastered across social media, sparking endless debates. Critics labeled him an entitled rich kid, a product of privilege who had everything handed to him. But what they failed to see was the reality behind the headlines. Despite growing up in unimaginable wealth, Bronny never relied on his father's status to define him. He trained tirelessly, working to prove he was more than just LeBron James's son. He wanted to be known for his own game, his own skill, his own grind. LeBron himself spoke out against the harsh judgment, saying, "My son deserves to live his life like any other young man, no matter who he is." But public perception was ruthless. When you're the heir to a sports empire, the world expects nothing less than perfection. Fighting through health struggles and relentless scrutiny, Bronny refused to back down. Every time he stepped onto the court, he silenced the doubters, proving that his talent wasn't just inherited, it was earned. His resilience in the face of adversity made it clear: Bronny James isn't just a name tied to greatness, he's a force determined to create his own. With every shot, every play, and every step toward the NBA, Bronny is rewriting the narrative. He's more than a legacy. He's proof that true success isn't about privilege or luck. It's about perseverance, grit, and the drive to rise, no matter how many times the world tries to bring you down. 4. Romeo Miller. Born on August 19, 1989 in New Orleans, Romeo Miller was destined for the spotlight. As the son of hip-hop mogul Master P, he had fame in his blood. But he didn't just ride on his father's name. Under the moniker Lil Romeo, he took the music scene by storm, achieving platinum success at an incredibly young age. His talents weren't limited to rap. He quickly became a Nickelodeon favorite, starring in his own hit show, Romeo, and making a name for himself in Hollywood. But behind the bright lights and accolades, a much darker story was unfolding. One of family drama, financial disputes, and the suffocating weight of living under a legendary father's control. By 2022, the cracks in the Miller family's seemingly perfect image had shattered into a full-blown public scandal. Romeo stunned fans when he took to social media to call out Master P, accusing his father of mismanaging his hard-earned fortune. According to Romeo, the money he had generated throughout his career was used to cover his father's debts, a revelation that rocked the industry. Master P wasted no time firing back, claiming that everything he did was for the good of the family. But this wasn't just a petty financial dispute. It was the boiling point of years of tension, control, and unspoken resentment. Romeo had spent his entire life under his father's watchful eye, from his music to his acting to his business ventures. But as he grew older, he realized he wanted to break free. The pressure of living in Master P's shadow had finally taken its toll. In 2021, Romeo shocked fans once again, this time by announcing he was stepping away from the entertainment industry. The boy who had once been a teenage superstar was now choosing a different path, one that didn't include the Hollywood grind or his father's influence. Instead, he poured his energy into his own business ventures, launching the fashion brand College Boys and the record label Next Generation Entertainment, finally establishing an identity separate from his famous last name. But perhaps the most significant turning point in Romeo's life came in 2022 when he became a father himself. The birth of his daughter marked a profound shift, solidifying his decision to focus on his own family rather than the never-ending cycle of public disputes and industry politics. Despite the chaos, Romeo never lost sight of what truly mattered. He transformed from a child star caught in the crossfire of family expectations into a man who carved his own path, on his own terms. 5. O'Shea Jackson Jr. Born into hip-hop royalty on February 24, 1991, O'Shea Jackson Jr. carried the weight of massive expectations from the moment he entered the world. As the eldest son of rap and film icon Ice Cube, his path was anything but ordinary. Yet despite the privileges of his famous last name, O'Shea's journey in Hollywood has been a relentless battle against doubters, controversy, and the never-ending comparisons to his legendary father. In 2015, O'Shea made a bold entrance into the film industry by portraying his own father in Straight Outta Compton, the critically acclaimed biopic about NWA. While the role skyrocketed him into the limelight, it also ignited a firestorm of criticism. Many dismissed his casting as pure nepotism, arguing that he landed the role solely due to his Ice Cube connection. The skepticism was brutal. Critics questioned his acting abilities, claiming he was simply coasting on his father's fame. What most didn't realize, however, was that O'Shea endured an intense 2-year audition process, competing against dozens of other talented hopefuls. Even Ice Cube himself publicly stated, "I didn't just hand him this role, he had to earn it." But proving himself to the world was only the beginning. Rather than let the negativity define him, O'Shea kept pushing forward. He went on to land major roles in Ingrid Goes West, Den of Thieves, and Godzilla, King of the Monsters, effortlessly shifting between comedy, action, and drama. With each role, he silenced critics who once called him a one-hit wonder. Most recently, he grabbed attention with standout performances in Cocaine Bear, 2023, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries, 2022, further solidifying his place as a serious actor, not just Ice Cube's son. Yet even with his rising success, the scrutiny never stopped. In 2021, fans noticed his striking physical transformation. His slimmer face and leaner build sparked rumors of cosmetic surgery. Whispers of Hollywood pressure and secret procedures spread like wildfire. But O'Shea refused to entertain the speculation, letting his actions speak louder than words. He later revealed that his transformation was the result of intense discipline, strict workouts, and a commitment to better health, shutting down the baseless accusations. And then there's his lifestyle, one that keeps social media buzzing. His Instagram is filled with snapshots of luxury cars, lavish vacations, and multi-million-dollar mansions. Some critics have slammed him for flaunting wealth he didn't earn, branding him as nothing more than a privileged celebrity kid. But here's the reality. Growing up in a household of wealth and success, extravagant living wasn't something he chased. It was simply his normal. Through all the noise, O'Shea Jackson Jr. continues to redefine what it means to be the child of a superstar. He isn't just following in his father's footsteps, he's making his own mark. 6. Evan Ross. Born on August 26, 1988, Evan Ross was destined for the spotlight as the youngest son of music legend Diana Ross. While the world saw his life as one of privilege, luxury, and endless opportunity, the reality was far more complex. Growing up under the towering legacy of his mother, Evan constantly struggled to carve out his own identity in an industry that judged him at every turn. From music and acting to fashion, every step he took was scrutinized. Was he truly talented, or just another celebrity kid riding on a famous last name? Evan's career officially took off in 2006 with his debut in the cult classic ATL. From there, he slowly built credibility, eventually landing major roles in the final two installments of the Hunger Games franchise. These films elevated his status in Hollywood, but with increased recognition came harsh criticism. Many skeptics claimed that his rise to fame had nothing to do with talent and everything to do with being Diana Ross's son. Hollywood is ruthless, and for Evan, the weight of expectation was suffocating. Then in 2016, his world was rocked by scandal. Whispers of trouble in his marriage to singer Ashlee Simpson exploded into full-blown tabloid chaos when photos of them engaged in a heated argument at a Diana Ross concert went viral. Headlines speculated about cracks forming under the pressure of fame, family expectations, and career struggles. Was their love on the brink of collapse? The public demanded answers. Rather than let the rumors spiral, Evan and Ashlee quickly moved to shut down the gossip. They made high-profile appearances hand in hand, sending a clear message. Their relationship was solid. Evan later addressed the controversy, admitting that, like any couple, they had rough patches, but their bond remained unbreakable. Still, his marriage wasn't the only thing under attack. His extravagant lifestyle became an easy target for critics who accused him of basking in his mother's wealth rather than working for his own success. Lavish parties at Diana Ross's mansion, luxurious vacations, and designer-clad social media posts fueled the narrative that Evan was simply another entitled celebrity offspring. But behind the scenes, Evan was grinding. He collaborated with Ashlee on music projects, launched his own albums, and even stepped into reality television, using the platform to showcase his artistry and individuality. His career choices weren't just about making a name for himself. They were a tribute to his family's artistic legacy while forging a fresh, modern path of his own. Despite the constant whispers, Evan Ross refuses to be defined solely by his last name. He's proven that while being Diana Ross's son may have opened doors, it's his dedication, resilience, and undeniable charm that have kept him in the game. 7. Trey Smith. Born on November 11, 1992, Trey Smith is the eldest son of global superstar Will Smith and actress Cherie Zampino. While his name carries the weight of Hollywood royalty, Trey's journey has been anything but typical. Unlike his younger siblings, Jaden and Willow, who embraced the entertainment industry with high-profile careers in film and music, Trey took a quieter, less conventional path, stepping into the world of DJing and music production. But behind the turntables and flashing club lights lies a story of struggle, distance, and a deep longing to carve out his own identity in a family where fame overshadows everything. Trey was just 3 years old when his parents divorced in 1995, an event that shaped his early years in ways few could understand. While Will Smith quickly moved on, marrying Jada Pinkett Smith and building a new, highly publicized family, Trey often found himself on the outside looking in. Though he was Will's firstborn, he was frequently sidelined in favor of his more famous siblings. The media rarely mentioned him, and when they did, it was usually in comparison to Jaden, the rising movie star, or Willow, the young music sensation. Whispers of being the forgotten Smith followed Trey throughout his teenage years. While his father and stepmother showered Jaden and Willow with support, opportunities, and public praise, Trey's presence in the family seemed more like an afterthought. The rumors of estrangement grew louder when Trey himself admitted to feeling neglected and misunderstood. His relationship with Will was strained for years, filled with emotional distance and unspoken hurt. But Trey refused to be defined by the shadows of his famous last name. Determined to build something of his own, he embraced music and began performing under the name DJ Ace. While his journey didn't come with blockbuster movies or chart-topping singles, his work in the electronic music scene earned him respect. In 2020, he released Best Wishes, a personal and introspective album that showcased his talent and resilience. Despite not being a media darling, Trey quietly proved his worth. While Jaden and Willow made headlines for their eccentricity and bold career choices, Trey was steadily establishing himself on his own terms. And perhaps most importantly, he found peace within his fractured family. Over time, Trey and Will Smith repaired their once distant relationship, with the actor publicly acknowledging his mistakes as a father. The two now appear together in heartfelt social media posts and family moments, showing the world that reconciliation is possible. Trey has also strengthened his bond with Jada, Jaden, and Willow, embracing his place in the Smith dynasty, not as a forgotten son, but as a man who forged his own path. 8. Mason Gooding. Mason Gooding, born on November 14, 1996, is the son of Academy Award-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. From the outside, it might seem like he had an effortless entry into Hollywood, graced with opportunities thanks to his famous last name. But don't be fooled. Mason's journey has been anything but smooth. Despite his growing list of accomplishments, including standout roles in Love, Victor, and Scream 6, Mason has had to battle relentless scrutiny, harsh expectations, and the heavy burden of a surname tainted by scandal. Growing up in the shadow of a Hollywood powerhouse, Mason was always expected to follow in his father's footsteps. But when Cuba Gooding Jr. faced multiple sexual misconduct allegations starting in 2019, everything changed. While Mason had no involvement in the controversies, the weight of public perception pressed down on him. Suddenly, his career wasn't just about talent, it was about proving that he wasn't simply riding on his father's coattails. The industry, notorious for its double standards, watched Mason closely, questioning whether he deserved his rising success or if it was merely a product of nepotism. Every audition, every role he landed came with whispers. Was he really good or just lucky? Determined to silence the skeptics, Mason threw himself into his craft. He took on small roles, endured rejection, and worked tirelessly to carve out a name independent of his father's. His big break came when he landed the role of Andrew in Love, Victor. It was the moment Hollywood finally paid attention, not just to his famous lineage, but to his undeniable talent. With raw emotion and effortless charm, Mason captivated audiences, proving that he was more than just a last name. His defining moment, however, arrived with Scream 6, where he solidified himself as a force in Hollywood. The high-intensity horror film wasn't just another project. It was a declaration that Mason Gooding belonged in the industry, with or without his father's legacy. Despite the looming pressure and constant comparisons, Mason remains unwavering. He doesn't let the weight of his father's past define his future. Instead, he turns every doubt into motivation, every criticism into fuel to push forward. Mason Gooding is more than just the son of a Hollywood legend. He is a rising star in his own right, proving that talent, not a last name, is what truly matters. 9. Christian Combs. Christian Combs, better known as King Combs, was born on April 4, 1998, as the son of hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. With a lineage deeply embedded in the music industry, Christian was destined to step into the limelight. From modeling for luxury brands to dropping hit singles, he quickly established himself as both a music artist and a style icon. But while his career flourished, his extravagant lifestyle and high-profile antics often overshadowed his talent, drawing as much criticism as admiration. The pinnacle of his flashy reputation came in 2019, when Christian celebrated his 21st birthday with one of the most over-the-top parties Hollywood had ever seen. Dubbed a royal affair by the media, the event was a display of wealth that left the public divided. A-listers filled the venue, luxury supercars lined the driveway, and expensive champagne flowed freely in his million-dollar mansion. While some marveled at the sheer extravagance, others saw it as an unnecessary spectacle, accusing him of flaunting privilege rather than proving his worth. For Christian, though, the criticism was nothing new. From the moment he stepped into the music industry, comparisons to his father were unavoidable. Diddy was a self-made mogul who built an empire from scratch, while Christian was born into opulence, raised in mansions and surrounded by luxury. To many, he seemed like another privileged celebrity kid living off his father's legacy rather than carving out his own. But is Christian just a product of wealth, or is there more to his story? Despite the noise, Christian has worked hard to prove himself as more than just Diddy's son. His track Love You Better became a breakout hit, blending classic and modern hip-hop influences in a way that resonated with both old-school fans and new-age listeners. He has collaborated with some of the biggest names in music, demonstrating that he has the talent to back up his ambitions. Beyond music, Christian has made waves in the fashion industry, becoming a staple in high-end runway shows and hinting at plans to launch his own brand. His confidence, charisma, and business mindset suggest that he's not just looking to be another rich kid in the spotlight, he's here to build something of his own. Though the criticism continues, Christian remains unfazed. He embraces the public scrutiny, using it as fuel to push forward. Whether in music, fashion, or entertainment, he refuses to let anyone write his story for him. Love him or hate him, one thing is clear. Christian Combs is determined to make his own mark, one bold move at a time. 10. Marcus Houston. Marcus Houston, born on August 4, 1981, to Michael Houston, was once a staple of 90s R&B, captivating audiences as both a singer and actor. From his unforgettable role in Sister Sister to topping charts with the group Immature, Marquez carved out a legacy that seemed destined for lasting success. But beneath the polished image, his personal life became a magnet for controversy. One of the most shocking scandals that rocked his reputation came in 2020 when Marquez, then 39, married 19-year-old Mia Dickey. While he insisted that their relationship only began when she was of legal age, rumors swirled that they had been involved long before, igniting public outrage. The vast age difference and suspicions surrounding their timeline led to a firestorm of backlash, with many questioning not just the morality of their union, but whether Marcus had crossed ethical lines. Under the glaring spotlight of judgment, Marcus found himself defending his love life rather than his music. Yet instead of retreating, he stood his ground, insisting that their bond was genuine. However, in an era where celebrities' personal choices are scrutinized more than ever, no amount of explanation could quiet the criticism. But the drama didn't stop at his personal life. His career was also riddled with turmoil. After Immature disbanded, former members Jerome Jones and Kelton LDB Kesey accused Marquez of financial mismanagement, claiming he prioritized his solo career at their expense. Fans, already divided over his personal life, now questioned whether he had betrayed his own bandmates. Were these just artistic differences blown out of proportion, or was there a deeper rift behind the scenes? Despite the relentless storms surrounding his name, Marquez refused to fade into obscurity. In 2024, he released his 8th studio album, The Best Worst Year Ever, a bold statement of resilience and reinvention. He further solidified his narrative by releasing a 2-part documentary chronicling his 30-year career, a move that proved he wasn't about to let scandals define his legacy. Marcus Houston remains a polarizing figure. Some see him as an artist who has withstood adversity, while others still question the choices that led him down a controversial path. 11. Malcolm Washington. Malcolm Washington, son of the legendary Denzel Washington, was born on April 10, 1991. Unlike his father, who became one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors, Malcolm chose to work behind the camera as a filmmaker, determined to carve out his own path in the industry. Yet despite his undeniable talent, escaping the weight of his father's name proved to be a battle of its own. From the outset of his career, Malcolm faced hurdles. His directorial debut, the short film Benny Got Shot, struggled with funding. Whispers spread through industry circles that he couldn't secure investors, and some even speculated that creative disagreements nearly derailed the entire project. While no concrete evidence surfaced to validate these claims, the rumors stuck, casting a cloud of doubt over his growing career. Being the son of Denzel Washington came with its own set of challenges. Every success Malcolm achieved was met with skepticism. Was he truly talented, or was he simply benefiting from nepotism? The constant comparisons, the pressure to prove himself, and the relentless gossip followed him like a shadow he couldn't outrun. Yet rather than let the doubts consume him, Malcolm stayed focused. He continued to build his portfolio as a writer and director, allowing his work to speak for itself. While he may never fully escape the weight of his father's legacy, he is steadily forging his own name in Hollywood, one project at a time. 12. Langston Fishburne. Langston Fishburne, son of the Matrix star Lawrence Fishburne, was born on February 29, 1988. With a background in ballet and a passion for film, he seemed destined for success on his own terms. His role as Bill Foster in Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2018, was a breakthrough moment, solidifying his place in Hollywood. But despite his rising career, Langston found himself caught in a whirlwind of family drama, rumors, and controversy. The tension between Langston and his father reportedly reached a boiling point due to lingering resentment over Lawrence's treatment of his mother after their 2002 divorce. While there was never concrete proof of a major fallout, the speculation alone was enough to keep the media buzzing. In a high-profile family like the Fishburnes, even whispers of conflict became headline news. But perhaps the most damaging blow came from a scandal not of his own making. His sister, Montana Fishburne, stunned the world in 2010 when she entered the adult film industry. The Fishburne name, once synonymous with prestige, was suddenly tangled in a media frenzy. Though Langston had no direct involvement in his sister's choices, the controversy cast a long shadow over him. Despite the turbulence, Langston remained steadfast in his career. He refused to let family drama define him, proving through his performances that he was more than just the son of a Hollywood icon. With each role, he continues to step out of the chaos and into his own light, determined to be known for his talent rather than the scandals surrounding his name. 13. Quincy Brown. Quincy Brown, son of Kim Porter and Albie Shore, was later adopted by hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs, giving him direct access to an empire built on music, fame, and fortune. From the moment he stepped into the industry, Quincy worked hard to carve out a name for himself, gaining recognition in acting and music. But while he might have looked like the perfect Hollywood success story, behind the scenes, his life was anything but smooth. After the tragic passing of his mother, Kim Porter, in 2018, the media erupted with reports of a fierce inheritance battle between Quincy and his adoptive father. Speculation ran wild, suggesting Quincy and Diddy were at odds over financial assets and estate distribution. Though both parties publicly denied the allegations, asserting that their bond remained intact, the rumors refused to die down, leaving the public divided. Was this a genuine family or just a carefully crafted facade? Beyond inheritance disputes, Quincy also faced the suffocating pressure of living under Diddy's colossal shadow. No matter how much he achieved on his own, he was constantly labeled Diddy's son, making it difficult for him to establish his independence. His comments about struggling to break free from the family name only intensified speculation that not all was well behind closed doors. Yet despite the rumors and relentless scrutiny, Quincy chose silence over spectacle, focusing on his work instead of feeding the gossip. He remains committed to his career, proving that he is more than just a product of Diddy's empire. He is an artist with his own vision and drive, determined to stand tall on his own merits. 14. Miles O'Neal. Miles O'Neal, the son of NBA icon Shaquille O'Neal, chose a completely different path from his father, stepping away from the basketball court and into the world of fashion, music, and entertainment. With a career as a top model, DJ, and reality TV star, Miles quickly built his own following, but his opulent lifestyle and complicated relationship with his stepfather have often landed him at the center of controversy. Miles never shied away from showcasing his wealth. From luxury cars and designer wardrobes to extravagant vacations, his social media presence exuded nothing but affluence. But in 2021, things took a turn when he was caught driving a multi-million-dollar sports car, igniting a heated debate about privilege. Critics slammed him for flaunting a lifestyle he never earned, accusing him of riding on Shaq's success instead of forging his own. To make matters more complicated, rumors of tension between Miles and Shaquille O'Neal began to spread. While Miles never spoke out against his stepfather, insiders speculated that he longed to be recognized for his individual achievements rather than being overshadowed by the larger-than-life presence of Shaq. Although there was no concrete proof of a rift, the whispers of family strain only fueled curiosity about what was really going on behind the scenes. Despite the backlash and constant media scrutiny, Miles refused to let negativity derail his ambitions. He continued pushing forward, proving that while he may have been born into wealth, his determination to create his own legacy was unwavering. 15. Michael Consuelos. Michael Consuelos, son of television power couple Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, has often been overlooked in discussions of Hollywood's elite families. While he didn't dominate TV screens like his parents, he carved out a niche for himself as an actor and screenwriter. But his journey has been anything but smooth, constantly battling the pressure of living up to a legacy he never asked for. As the child of two of the most recognizable figures in entertainment, Michael was constantly compared to his famous parents. Despite his efforts to prove himself, the public often questioned whether his success was a result of talent or simply nepotism. The weight of expectations followed him like a shadow, with critics quick to dismiss his achievements as mere byproducts of his parents' connections. Things escalated when he landed a role in Riverdale, playing the younger version of Hiram Lodge, a character originally portrayed by his own father. Instantly, the accusations of favoritism poured in, with many claiming he was handed the role instead of earning it. The relentless scrutiny forced Michael to fight not just for recognition, but for validation in an industry that often equates family ties with automatic success. Rather than crumble under the pressure, Michael remained steadfast. He honed his craft, determined to let his work speak for itself. Though he may not be the flashiest star in the industry, he is quietly making strides, proving that while he may carry a famous name, his talent is what truly defines him. 16. Brandon Howard. Brandon B. Howard, the son of renowned singer Mickey Howard, was born on April 2, 1981. With a deep-rooted passion for music, he inherited undeniable talent. Yet his career took an unexpected turn when he became the center of one of the most bizarre and shocking claims in the entertainment world. Despite his promising abilities as a singer and producer, Brandon found himself trapped in a whirlwind of speculation and scrutiny. In 2014, the media erupted when a DNA test claimed to reveal that Brandon was the secret, illegitimate son of none other than Michael Jackson. The resemblance was uncanny, and the story spread like wildfire. Fans, critics, and insiders were left speechless. Could the king of pop really have a hidden child? The internet exploded with theories, dissecting every facial feature, vocal tone, and career move, trying to connect the dots. But just as quickly as the rumors took hold, follow-up DNA tests disproved any biological connection between Brandon and Michael. The Jackson family issued statements denying any relation, and yet the scandal refused to fade. The controversy placed Brandon's career under immense strain, casting doubt over his every move. Financial difficulties and industry rejection soon followed. Despite working with major artists like Ne-Yo and Omarion, Brandon struggled to step out of the shadow that the scandal had cast. He was no longer just a musician, he was the guy who was almost Michael Jackson's son. The weight of public expectations and lingering skepticism made it nearly impossible to establish his own musical identity. Yet against the odds, Brandon never gave up. He refused to let a viral rumor define him. Slowly, he started rebuilding his career, regaining stability, and reintroducing himself to the industry on his own terms. The road was rough, but he was determined to prove that his talent, not a sensational scandal, would be his legacy. 17. Keenen Ivory Wayans Jr. Born into one of the most influential families in comedy, Keenen Ivory Wayans Jr. had every reason to succeed. As the son of Keenen Ivory Wayans, the mastermind behind In Living Color, he was expected to carry on the Wayans dynasty. But could he really measure up to the brilliance that made his father a household name? Despite his efforts in writing and producing comedy projects, Keenen Jr. faced an uphill battle. Between 2000 and 2010, whispers of family disputes circulated. Insiders claimed creative disagreements and clashing egos within the Wayans clan created tensions behind the scenes. Unlike his famous relatives, who seemed to effortlessly churn out success after success, Keenen Jr. struggled to find his own voice in the industry. Critics tore into him, dismissing his contributions as mediocre compared to the comedic genius of his father and uncles. Every project he worked on was met with skepticism, with audiences questioning whether he truly had what it took or if he was simply riding on the Wayans name. But instead of backing down, Keenen Jr. persevered. He continued honing his craft, weathering setbacks and proving that his journey was his own, not just an extension of his father's legacy. Though he may not have reached the same legendary status as Keenan Sr., his determination has paved the way for his own brand of success. 18. Sati Gosset. Sati Gosset, the son of Oscar-winning actor Louis Gossett Jr., dared to step into the world of filmmaking with bold, controversial storytelling. Founding Goose Egg Entertainment, he set out to create thought-provoking films that tackled social issues, but not everyone was ready for his approach. By 2010, Sati found himself under fire. Rumors swirled that his success wasn't truly earned, but rather a direct product of his father's influence. Industry skeptics questioned whether he had real talent or simply a famous last name that opened doors for him. The criticism only intensified when, in 2015, he released a series of short films tackling politically charged themes. The response? A firestorm of public outrage. Some critics applauded his work, calling it fearless. Others slammed it as reckless, disrespectful, and provocative for the sake of shock value. Instead of addressing the controversy head-on, Sati chose silence, leaving the public to speculate. Was he simply avoiding the heat, or was he strategically refusing to fuel the flames? Despite the backlash, Sati kept pushing forward. His films, no matter how polarizing, were proof of his relentless creativity. While he may never escape the weight of his father's legendary name, he has built a reputation as a filmmaker unafraid to stir the pot. 19. Dhani Harrison. Dhani Harrison, son of Beatles legend George Harrison, was born into music history. From an early age, he was immersed in the world of rock and roll, but with that inheritance came enormous pressure. When George Harrison passed away in 2001, Dhani not only had to grapple with the loss of his father, but also with the public scrutiny over his inheritance. Whispers of family tension and speculation over financial disputes turned his private grief into a tabloid sensation. Was he merely the heir to his father's empire, or did he have what it took to stand on his own? As a musician, Dhani's work was constantly compared to his father's. His 2020 project Brainwashed, which incorporated George's unfinished recordings, was both praised and criticized. Some saw it as a heartfelt tribute, others dismissed it as riding on his father's legacy. But Dhani refused to be defined by comparisons. He worked tirelessly to craft his own identity, proving that while his father's influence was undeniable, his talent was his own. Slowly but surely, he carved out a name for himself, though the shadow of one of music's greatest icons will always loom over him. 20. Ennis Cosby. Born to Bill Cosby, Ennis Cosby was meant to have a life filled with promise and opportunity. A brilliant student with dreams of becoming an educator, his future seemed bright, until one horrific night in 1997 shattered everything. While changing a flat tire on a Los Angeles freeway, Ennis was brutally murdered, gunned down in a senseless act of violence. The world was in shock. Was this really just a random crime, or was there something more sinister at play? At first, authorities classified it as a robbery gone wrong, but when the killer was arrested, new theories emerged. Some speculated that Ennis had been targeted for reasons beyond a simple carjacking. Did his famous last name make him a target? Others whispered about hidden tensions within the Cosby family, hinting at darker secrets behind the tragedy. Though no concrete evidence ever surfaced to support these suspicions, the questions never fully disappeared. To this day, Ennis's death remains one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking losses. A young man with a bright future, taken too soon in a case that still lingers in mystery.